Greetings, 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 positive energy all the time. Welcome to This the News Extended Edition. We're going to talk about the drought in Florida. Come on in, come on in. Come on in. Yes. Hold on to your seats. This is going to be a little rough. You might not want to hear this news. How many of you drink a lot of orange juice? Put an orange in the chat. Put an orange in the chat if you consume lots of orange juice. I hear you. I use a lot of lemons. Yeah, I use a lot of lemons. That's for real. Well, this is some bad news for you if you use lemons or oranges. This is bad news. For sure. This is bad news. Watermelon, huh? If things don't turn around, we're going to have problems with all of that. That's for sure. I kid you not. This is bad news. So welcome to the news. I'm glad you can make it. This is a little bit of an extended edition. Good to see you, Lady Linus. Let's let some people get in here so they don't miss this important information. Yeah, they got groves down there, but they have some serious problems. Serious, serious, serious problems. Exhibit A. Entirety of Southwest Florida under extreme drought, worst conditions in 25 years. Worst conditions in 25 years. No kidding. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, run those likes up, hit the notification bell, support the channel. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this is the news. And this is the best news on YouTube. By next year, we'll be #1. You know why? Because of you all, because this is a news channel where the viewers also tell us the news. So if you have any information on this situation, post it in the chat. That way, while I'm making my presentation, people are constantly reading more information than what I'm presenting. And we'll be very informative over here. So that's what we're doing different at the news. We are interacting with the chat, and the chat is also a part of our newsroom. So be a part of the newsroom and post any information you got on this situation. So, extreme dry conditions in Florida means farmers are constantly watering their crops, but the price of irrigation adds up quickly, and that's causing big trouble for an industry that's already been hit hard by hurricanes and citrus greening disease. Right? So we're already being hit hard in Florida. JCD, wherever we get it from, that really won't have much to do with the farmers in Florida taking a beating, and that's pretty much what this is about. Yeah, we'll go somewhere else and get oranges wherever we can. But the American farmer in Florida is what this conversation is about. And we don't want to see them go under. So I wanted to make their situation known so we can keep an eye on it because I think it's up to the American public to pitch in sometime when the farmers are having a hard time. Maybe it's ways people can raise money to help get water delivered to them from areas that have water. So it's about commerce. It's also about them as people. It's about them as people, as people that put a lot of work into their farms and put a lot of work into their crops and sunk a lot of money into what they're doing. This is their life. So it's very painful to a farmer that has their whole life, their family, everything invested into farming. So it's serious. To all the farmers, I'm with you. I'll keep an eye on all the farmers across the U.S. and report whatever's going on with you. I feel your pain. Severe to extreme drought conditions in Polk County and across central Florida has citrus growers fighting to survive. Florida's citrus growers are battling the state's worst drought in a quarter century, which has already pushed orange yields to record lows. Record lows already. Water officials across the Tampa Bay regions have implemented stricter lawn watering restrictions. This is how this is gonna this is how this is gonna affect you. Water officials across the Tampa Bay region have implemented stricter lawn watering restrictions as prolonged dry weather continues to reduce local water supplies. Authorities say the region has experienced one of its most serious drought conditions in decades after months of below average rainfall caused river flows and groundwater levels to drop. The shortage has placed pressure on the system that provides drinking water to millions of residents across Hillsborough, Pinellas, and Pasco counties. Tampa Bay water officials say the drought has significantly reduced the amount of water available from rivers that normally help supply the region. Orlando is in moderate drought, while surrounding areas face extreme conditions and only persistent rain over weeks or months can fully recover the deficit. Florida's drought has worsened, reaching its highest level since 2001, with dry soil, stretched vegetation, and falling lake levels. Key impact on citrus supply as of March 2026. Record low production. The USDA projects the 2025-2026 citrus harvest to be the lowest in over 100 years, with some projections showing it falling below the previous season's historic lows. Drought and freezing damage. The severe drought, particularly in central Florida and Polk County, has severely stressed trees. This, compounded by the February 2026 freeze, has resulted in damaged fruit and increased fruit drop, with the estimate 8 to 10% of the crop damaged by cold. While the industry is seeing some signs of hope with healthier, more resilient trees, the immediate 2025-2026 season is facing significant continued decline. So it is a 911 situation. For sure. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. Bad situation. As of March 3rd, 2026, approximately 49.54% of the U.S. and Puerto Rico and 54.8% of the lower 48 is experiencing drought conditions. The most severe areas are currently concentrated in the southeast, south, and portions of the Midwest and Northeast, which means there's going to be other problems. That's what that means. In the Southeast, this region is currently the most severely impacted. Over 70% of Florida is in extreme drought, with massive wildfires reported, such as the 35,000-acre fire in Big Cypress Natural Preserve, Georgia. And the Carolinas also face widespread severe to extreme drought. The South, Lower Mississippi and Southern Plains. Drought is rapidly expanding in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Mississippi. Parts of Texas and Oklahoma are seeing exceptional drought, the highest severity level affecting livestock and water supplies. In the Midwest, significant dry conditions persist across the Ohio Valley, including Illinois, Indiana, and Kentucky. Locations like Padaku, Kentucky, and Carbondale, Illinois just recorded their driest meteorological winter on record. So we might have some corn shortages too. And corn is in everything. The Northeast, long-term participation deficits have led to extreme drought in parts of New England, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. While California is currently drought-free, low snowpack is a major concern for the rest of the region. Snow water equivalents are less than 50% of normal across Cascades and the Great Basin. So this is serious. This is very serious. Very serious. No kidding. Very, very serious. Drought severity by state. Florida, extreme drought, D3, exceptional drought, D4. So Florida is in extreme drought, 70.5%. Georgia, extreme drought, 37.34%. Arkansas, extreme drought, 31.32%, and exceptional drought at 3.59%. Texas at 16.63% extreme drought, 3.08 exceptional drought. And Illinois, 13.38% extreme drought, 0% exceptional drought. This is a huge problem. This is a huge problem. Yeah. So, on this extended version of This the News, we're going to get into that conversation. We're going to do more than just news on this episode. And we're going to get into a very deep conversation about where we're headed. Right? Absolutely, Leonard. Absolutely. We're headed in a bad direction. Seriously. Now, most people will have to wait till they hit their area, but in certain parts of Florida, they're starting to tell them to take 10-minute showers. They're telling them don't water your grass. To save water, people are taking like containers and putting the water in it and watering the grass by hand so the sprinkler won't be wasting water that's running all on the sidewalk. They're saying 10-minute showers. There's a possibility that water will be turned off at a certain time of day and turned back on. So you'll have so long to do what you got to do needing water is off. Seriously. And even though I'm talking about Florida, this is all across the country. You might think, good to see you, April. Okay. Well, your property value, if you're in one of these states that are going to be in extreme to severe drought in the next couple of years, your property value is going to be worthless. You won't be able to sell your house no matter what. There will be a great migration of people moving to where the water is at. Like around up north, around the Great Lakes, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois. People will be running to the Great Lakes. My personal advice would be to sell your home in Florida now if you can. The price might be a little low, but it's only going down. It's going down. It's going down. You don't have to take my advice. I've talked about this a couple of times. It's going down. And make sure you support the channel, because now with this new playlist, This the News, not only are we having open conversation here on Pharaoh Said That, but we have a whole news segment. So it should be real enjoyable for you. Sometime we're going to have our conversation. Sometime we're going to wild out. Basically, this is a television program that has everything: entertainment, conversations, and news. Right? Tell her, do not buy no house in Florida. Tell her, do not. And tell her that if she insists, let me see if I can find the brother. Or did I delete? His account. Tell her to go and check the brother Alaska Gladiator. Tell her, Craig, I'm not kidding. Tell her, before she buys that house, tell her to go to Instagram and watch about 30 of his posts. And she will not buy no house in Florida. So at least you did everything you can to save her, because that house ain't going to be worth a quarter. And they're going to sell it to her quick. But this brother is an expert on the oncoming droughts across the United States. And these are very serious. This is very serious. Listen, you all. This is very, very serious. This is so serious that before this year is over, I'm sure I would be done did 20 or 30 presentations and live streams on this subject. This is very correct. This is very, very serious. Very. You all better listen to me. You better listen. Arizona, water shortage. Florida, water shortage. Colorado, water shortage. Exhibit A. Arizona is experiencing a significant long-term water shortage, driven by severe drought and climate change affecting the Colorado River Basin, leading to a Tier 1 shortage declaration in 2025 that cuts 512,000 acre-feet, about 18% of its annual supply. Major impacts focus on Central Arizona project, water users agriculture, and increasing reliance on groundwater. This is not a joke. Key aspects of the Arizona water shortage. Source of crisis. For nearly 25 years, the Colorado River Basin has seen below average runoff due to hotter, drier conditions causing historic low levels in Lake Mead and Lake Powell. Impacted supply. The 2025 Tier 1 shortage, a reduction of 512,000 acre feet, represents roughly 30% of the normal Central Arizona project supply, affecting municipal agriculture and tribal users. Groundwater issues. Areas without direct access to the Colorado River, such as rural communities, are dealing with sinking land due to rapid, unregulated groundwater pumping. Conservation efforts. Arizona has conserved over 3.7 million acre feet of water in Lake Mead over the last decade to mitigate the crisis. Future outlook. Future deep cuts are possible if interstate agreements on water sharing cannot be reached, with state officials working to secure sustainable water management amid continued population growth. Now, you don't have to listen, but in my honesty, this is one of the most important conversations you're going to hear this year. I'm telling you straight up. This is one of the most important things you're going to hear. This is one of the most important conversations you're going to hear. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, and support the channel. And send this live to everybody. And you don't hear me say that. Listen. Send this live to everybody. Everybody. I'm going to definitely look into it. I'm going to write it down now, and I'll come with information on that. Let me write it down, because I get busy and I'll be and forgot. Look, send this to everybody. All your family members need to know this, because the next time they hear this, it will be a 911. The next time you hear this, they'll be telling you to take 10-minute showers. Look, 2 water management districts have declared phase 1 moderate water shortages for parts of north central Florida. These advisories ask people to voluntarily reduce water use. Voluntarily. What's next? Mandatory. The Suwannee River Water Management District declared a shortage for 14 of its 15 counties in January after below average rainfalls in 2025. The key word is voluntarily. Voluntarily. You know what's next. 2 water management districts have declared phase 1. Key factors in future outlook: aquifer depletion and saltwater intrusion. The Floridan aquifer, the primary water source, is being pumped faster than it can be replenished. That's water that's running under the ground. They're pumping it out faster than it can be replenished. As groundwater levels drop, salt water from the ocean can intrude into the aquifers, which means one day you turn on your sink in Florida and the water going to be salt water, because the fresh water keeps the salt water from running in there. Population boom. With over 300,000 new residents annually, the demand for water for drinking and irrigation is exceeding supply. You hear that, Craig? She's moving into a disaster. Droughts and climate. As of February 2026, severe below average rainfall has caused water shortages, with the Northwest Florida Water Management District recommending voluntary and in some cases mandatory reductions in uses. Did you hear that? Northwest Florida Water Management District recommending voluntary and in some cases mandatory reduction uses. Craig, tell her if she want to get a bag or if she want to buy some good property, tell her to move by one of the Great Lakes. Tell her to move by Lake Michigan, Lake Huron, Lake Superior. Tell her to move by some water, because water is going to be more expensive than gold, platinum, or anything. They're going to have to build those systems on the ocean to turn the salt water into fresh water, like what they got in Iraq, in Turkey, and over there. That's what they have to do. In the Arab immigrant in their country, the AEU. She better get the hell out of Florida. She better get out of Florida. She better get out of Florida. She don't got to listen. And that ain't the only state people got to get out of. This ain't no type of joke. None. Exhibit B. As of February 2026, there are no statewide mandatory legal enforced shower time limits for Florida residents. However, due to severe drought conditions, water managers in South Florida and Tampa Bay are urgently asking residents to volunteer reduce water usage, including limiting shower times and laundry. Once you tell her, she's going to hear it on the news, because she's been hearing it. She just probably ain't been paying no attention, because they down there in Tampa telling her to cut back on her showers. She just ain't listening. She not listening. She gonna FA and FO. I tell you that. This is not a joke. This is not a joke. Not at all. This is not a joke. This is very serious, people. I hope you all are listening. I hope you all are listening. This is not a joke. Get your people out of these areas. It's not a joke. This the news. Like you will get nowhere else. You ain't gonna get it like this nowhere. I'm on my way to be the number one person telling people what's going on. No filters, none of that. They finna make you cut your shower times. As of February 2026, there was no statewide mandatory legal enforced shower time limits in Florida residents. However, due to severe drought conditions, water managers in Florida and in Tampa are urgently asking residents to voluntarily reduce water usage, including limiting shower times and laundry. Key details regarding water conservation in Florida. Voluntary requests. Water management in 6 counties include Miami-Dade, Monroe, Collier, Lee, Highlands, and Glades are requesting residents to reduce shower time and water usage with the potential for mandatory restrictions if supplies do not improve. Targeted areas. The Tampa Bay area has implemented stricter enforceable rules for outdoor water use 1 day per week due to drought, encouraging overall conservation. Existing standards. Florida Building Code requires new shower heads to have a flow rate not exceeding 2.5 gallons per minute, a standard that has been in place since 1992. You don't have to listen. Oh, it get worse. Wait, this is going to be one of the best presentations you ever seen. I tell you that right now. You haven't seen nothing like this. U.S. Look at the whole country. As of early 2026, severe water shortage and chronic high stress affect multiple U.S. states, particularly in the West and Southwest, with roughly 40 to 45% of the lower 48 states experiencing drought. The most severe impacted states include New Mexico, California, Nevada, Colorado, Utah, Texas, and Idaho. This is a 911. Let your people know early, because once this starts trending on social media, it's going to be a frenzy. Key states facing significant water shortage. New Mexico faces extreme high water stress and critical groundwater declines. California experiencing long-term aridness, groundwater depletion, and reliance on shrinking Colorado River. And reliance on what? On a shrinking Colorado River. Arizona and Nevada facing acute shortages due to what? Colorado River Basin deficits. Colorado and Utah dealing with critically low reservoir levels. Texas struggling with shortages driven by drought, extreme heat, and high demand. Idaho and Montana experiencing prolonged drought conditions. Nebraska and Kansas facing significant long-term groundwater declines. Oh, it gets worse. If you ain't mad now, wait till we you ain't gonna believe this. Key drivers, groundwater depletion. 82% of aquifers in Oklahoma and major declines in New Mexico and Kansas City are causing severe long-term shortages. Colorado River crisis, low levels at Lake Mead and Lake Powell threaten supplies for the basin state. Drought and climate change, rising temperatures and reduced rainfall, snowpack are worsening, affecting agriculture and cities. Other states experiencing notable, though sometimes localized shortage or high stress conditions include Oregon, Washington, North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa. And in terms of quality access, Pennsylvania and West Virginia. It's not a joke. While the U.S. currently experiences a serious water crisis with over 2 million people lacking basic running water, it is highly unlikely for 170 million people, over half the population, to have no water at all. However, severe shortages are possible. Nearly half the U.S. freshwater basins may not meet monthly demand by 2071. Oh, it's going to be quicker than that. It's going to be quicker than that. We haven't even got to the real disaster yet. You haven't heard nothing yet. Water scarcity in the United States is an increasing issue. It's estimated that 2.2 million people in the United States do not have running water, and over 44 million people are using water systems that do not meet standards for water quality. It's not a joke. Florida and Georgia share water resources primarily through the Apalachicola, Chattahoochee, Flint River basins, which flows from Georgia to Florida. Apalachicola Bay. A long-standing water war exists over consumption, but in 2021, the Supreme Court unanimously ruled in favor of Georgia, finding Florida failed to prove that Georgia's water usage caused the collapse of its oyster fisheries. So you're going to start not having certain food. Fish are going to kind of leave the area. You're definitely not going to have any freshwater fish. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, if nothing else don't wake you up, this will. The Colorado River is in a severe long-term crisis due to a 20-plus year mega drought, rising temperatures, and over allocation, which flows dropping 20% over the past century. Major reservoirs like Lake Mead and Lake Powell hit historic low, threatening water for 40 million people and agriculture, with 2026 negotiations failing to secure a new sharing deal. Sharing deal. You know what? Let's say this is the dam. And there's 2 holes right here, or 4 holes. The water's up to here. The water's up to here. These holes take in the water and run the dam, provide electricity, 7 states, California, all of them out there, Arizona, all of them, right? The water then went down to about right there. If the water go down, the electricity go off. If the water don't stay over that hole, over the hole that pulls the water in, the dam, if that water goes down, lights out the West Coast. 7 states, no electricity, out. The water used to be up here, the water right there. The water's right there. Y'all understand what I'm saying? The water is right there. That's why they talking about what they got to do now to figure out how to split the water up. Somebody not finna get no water. They say California off the top get water the most because they the oldest state. Hold on, you haven't heard nothing because I don't want y'all to think I'm playing. This is not no kind of joke. This is the most serious thing in the U.S. probably. If the Colorado River dries up, 40 million people across 7 states and Mexico will lose a primary water source, causing a catastrophic crisis. Agriculture, 80% of the usage would collapse, causing major food shortages. While major cities like Phoenix, Las Vegas, and Los Angeles will face severe water rationing, power cuts from the Hoover Dam, and mass migration, which means what? Less food. Millions of people run into Chicago, run into Detroit, run into Kalamazoo, run into Ohio, run into the Great Lakes. Millions. Like worse than the Venezuelan, worse than that. Houses worth nothing. Everything they built is trash. Every house in the desert will be worth nothing. Unless you got enough money to plug into a water converter, and then like Vegas, you're not close by the ocean. So they would have to pull the water out the ocean, convert it from salt water to fresh water, and pump it all the way to all those states. I don't think y'all hear me. I'm not trying to panic you. I'm just letting you know what's down the pipeline. Direct consequences of the river drying up, water and food crisis. Approximately 40 million people rely on this river. Without it, the Southwest faces severe water shortages, potentially forcing cities to restrict water usage heavily. Agriculture in California, Arizona, Nevada would face crippling shortages affecting food supplies for the nation. So even Chicago, Indiana, all us, we won't have any food either. These places provide the food for all of us. It'll be food shortages. This ain't really no time for no jokes. You should be ashamed of yourself. I'm gonna be honest with you. You should be ashamed of yourself. Seriously. You don't have no home training. Infrastructure collapse. By 2027, key reservoirs like Lake Mead and Lake Powell could fall below dead pool levels, meaning water can no longer flow through the dams. Wait a minute. By 2027, key reservoirs like Lake Mead and Lake Powell could fall below dead pool levels, meaning water can no longer flow through the dams. This would halt hydroelectric power production at the Hoover Dam, which supplies power to 1.3 million people. No electricity. Out. Economic and social disruption. Arizona alone could lose over 2 million jobs and over 185 billion in economic activity. Urban areas with junior water rights would likely be forced to buy up water rights from agricultural sectors, severely damaging farming communities. Environmental devastation. The ecosystem, including the Grand Canyon and the Colorado River Delta, would be severely impacted, damaging habitats for endangered species like the Yuma Ridgeway rail. Regional migration, a loss of basic water service would likely trigger a forced, large-scale migration of residents out of the region, like Moses in Exodus. Like, I don't think people understand. That's why somebody come over here telling jokes. I don't think they understand that when people get that type of desperation, they start losing their mind. No water. You got to move and leave your house. Nobody want to buy it. You got to go somewhere you might not be. Where you going to live? Do you have money? All your equity is in your house. Okay, you might got $20,000 in the bank, 50, 100. That ain't no money. Now when you talk about relocating, and relocate where? And how? Because by the time you decide to relocate, everybody's trying to relocate. Property values where there's no water, down. Property values where there is water, through the roof. You got a house in Chicago, Michigan. Guess how much it's going to be worth? A fortune. So answer me this. What's the real reason they want to get the Somalis out of Minneapolis? The land of what? 1,000 lakes, right? 100 lakes, whatever they call it. They sitting around all the water. They gonna get them out of there. They gonna ship them back to Africa. They not gonna let no Africans have all that water. I'm just telling you. All them lakes up there, you know what that property is worth? I'm just saying. You buy a house up there, it could be a little house. It could be a little house that really ain't fixed up or nothing. You know what it's going to be worth? You know what? A little house, it could be just a 1-bedroom house in Minnesota going to be worth? A half a meal, a meal. That's going to be the selling point. Water available. Because everybody know, even with food shortage, if you move around the water, you can grow some food. If you live where it's water, you can grow some food. You can grow food in Chicago over the summertime. If you got enough space, you can grow enough food. If you know how to preserve it and make your moves right, and you know how to sprouts in the house and stuff, you can make it from summer to summer, and you'll have something to eat. Because people going to turn their whole house into a farm. Ain't going to be all this junk in your house no more. It's going to be greenhouse in the house. It's going to be solar panels, so your electric bill ain't high. And people going to be growing like crazy. And people going to be taking their gutter, and they're going to be catching that water. They're going to take that gutter off. They're going to run a new extension right yeah. Some people going to run it into their basement so won't nobody steal their water in the backyard. Man, people are going to take their gutters, have their gutters run into the house, and be filling up containers in the basement, where once it gets so full, they can turn it off and catch some more outside. Because water going to be like diamonds. So you're going to have to protect your water, like seriously. Just let that sink in. This the news. Let's take a break. You ain't heard nothing yet. We haven't even got to the kicker. You think you mad now. Wait till I wind down. You think you mad now. Wait till I get to the meat of the conversation. Climate change and drought, reduce snowpack, increase evaporation from higher temperatures, and significantly reducing the river's flow. The river supplies 40 million people in 7 states and Mexico with a large percentage of water used for agriculture. Failed negotiations. As of February 2026, Western U.S. state missed another critical deadline to agree on the new terms for water sharing deal. Are you hearing what this saying? They got to reach a term agreement on how they're going to share the water out west from the dam, because it's going to be less water from the Colorado River. Infrastructure risks. Experts warn that without action, reservoirs could drop to levels where major dams become inoperable by 2027. And it didn't say the Colorado Dam, did it? It didn't say the Colorado, it didn't say it says major dams. See, they not telling us everything? Dams, what dams? Damn. You know what I'm saying? What dams? You see how they telling you a little bit? The whole time they saying, oh, the Colorado dam. Now they saying dams. Over 21 years, the basin has lost 10 trillion gallons of water. Now you ready to really get, you ready? Are you ready? Are y'all ready to really, 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 really get angry? Are y'all really ready to have a fit? I don't even want to show y'all this. Data centers in Florida, driven by AI expansion, consume significant water for cooling, which large facilities potentially using 1 to 5 million gallons a day. That's where the water's going. Because even with drought, there would still be enough water over the years. You know why there's really no water, no backup water when the drought comes? Because these AI data centers using 1 to 5 million gallons a day. A mid-sized center uses around 300,000 gallons per day, with consumption peaking in warm weather. This usage puts immense strain on Florida water resource. Not just Florida, not just Florida. Not just Florida. Listen. Y'all ain't going to believe this. I hate to be the one. I ain't lying. I hate to be the one. It's a dirty job, but somebody got to do it. I really don't want to show y'all this. I ain't lying. I ain't lying. I don't want to show y'all this. I ain't lying. 300 million gallons a day. Look at this here. Look at this foolishness right here. Man, when the people find this out, they're going to go crazy. Now, 300 million gallons of water a day. And look how many data centers is in. How much water is that every day? If one data center is using 300 million a day, a small one using 300,000, how much water is that a day? So California going to be taking all that water and it's going to be going to the data centers. It ain't even going to go to the people. Look at all those data centers. What y'all think about that? Is that not absolutely crazy? I'm just saying. That's not absolutely madness. That's not crazy. That's not absolute madness. This is who's running the world. These are people running the world. This is what type of time they on. This is why our politicians, this is what they doing. I ain't lying. That's why I didn't want to show y'all that early. I wanted you to sink in your head how much water they talk about we don't have first. So you hear all that I read? We don't got no water. They got to do all this stuff to get some water, right? They got to debate over who could get water. They want us to cut taking showers, right? Just let that sink in. They want you to cut back taking showers and washing your clothes and washing your car and watering your grass. Oh, my soul. And going to tell you it's because of the climate. And the whole time, it's the data centers. on everything. That's the real reason we don't have no water. Because it rained enough and stuff to make it through droughts. They had enough to collect enough water. Okay? They had collected enough water where we could have had slight rain, and as fast as we have a little rain, you see what they doing with it. No, that's the data centers that's using up all the water. That's the data centers that's using 1 to 5 million gallons a day, and the small one's using 300,000 gallons. Okay? All of these is using anywhere from 300,000 gallons to 5 million gallons of water every day. Multiply that by 365 days. Every day, all of these. I don't think you hear me. Data centers in the US consume an estimate. Data centers in the US consume an estimated 400 to over 500 million gallons of water per day for cooling, with some estimates suggesting total daily uses include electricity generation could be closer to 579 million gallons. This usage is heavily tied to AI growth, with large hyperscale centers using 1 to 5 million gallons daily, a number that often triples in the summertime, which means 15 million in the summer, because they have all these things and they get hot and they use the water, and the water lays on these other things that get them wet, and then those things cool the data centers. And if they don't cool the data centers, it'll all catch on fire and blow up, because it's burning so much energy and electricity that they have to constantly pump water in there to stop it from overheating. This is what they're doing to make sure that you can get on the mark of the beast and get that mark of the beast in your hand so you can buy or sell. Because that's what the data centers is for, the mark of the beast that I've been talking about, that you thought, some of y'all thought it was a joke. No, the data centers, what they need, data for what? Data for your digital currency, data for what you're doing, what you eat, where you live, what you say on social media, for total surveillance of your life. That's what data for what? Data for the devil that a lot of you didn't believe. But tell me anything other than a devil would use up 570 million gallons of water a day and tell people you gonna have to cut back on taking showers. You gotta take a 10-minute shower because we run in the water. You gotta take a 10-minute shower. You gotta take a 10-minute shower, Pharaoh, so that we can make sure we watch your microchip you and watch you. We don't care. Just take a shower. We want the data on you. We don't care. Give a damn if you take a shower or not. And then that's data too, because they're gonna know when you shower, when you don't, when you wash your car, when you turn the water on. Oh, you turn the water on at this address, water on. Turn that water off. You didn't used up enough water. While they use almost 600 million gallons of water a day. Enough water for everybody in the United States to have water with no problem. This is where the water going. This is why it's droughts. This is why the dam is low. Because they sucking all the water. They so dumb. It never told you that Lucifer was smart. Lucifer is intentionally stupid to get you to follow him, to drive you off a cliff. When you look in terms of God, God is going to try to do things to benefit you. When you look at Lucifer, Lucifer going to try to make you make a fool out yourself, try to make you self-destruct. Because according to religion, if God made you, he wants God's experiment to go wrong. If you believe in that. I'm not saying you got to believe in that, but that's the thesis. Something wants you to destroy what was built, wants you to destroy the earth, wants to make your life miserable. But when you lived in a natural world, apples growing everywhere, food growing everywhere, waterfalls everywhere. You didn't have to get up and go to work for nobody. You worked for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And if you grew food, your neighbor grew food, this one grew food, you take us some tomatoes. Hey, I'll bring you some tomatoes. I need to get some of those carrots. Okay, come on over. I got plenty of them. Certain people that was really older, they were growing enough food for everybody, right? The older people, y'all know back in the day when we lived more natural and people grew their own food, you knew the people that's 50 and older, they had more food than they could eat. That's all they did was can food, jar food, and grow food and store food. Some of them people could feed the whole neighborhood because they want something to do. There's people that love making soap. There's people that love making shampoo. There's people that love make toothpaste. If you was a musician and can entertain the community, they'll just give you stuff. That's how you got paid. You go and you perform for them, and they have their parties in the community, and they give you food. Oh yeah, give the band food. Make sure the band eating. See y'all next week. We having another function over here. Make sure the band eating. Every talent you got that benefited, people would trade for your talent. You didn't have to trade absolute stuff. You could trade your time. You're a school teacher. They're going to make sure you eat. You had just as much food as everybody else. Now, in this Babylon system, they want to work you. So they're going around telling everybody, right, that it ain't no food. Hey, sweetheart. Telling everybody it's a water shortage. They telling us it's a water shortage. While they using 400 to 500 million gallons of water a day for cooling those hot plates in those data centers. Yeah, and still doing it even though the water running out. Still letting Elon, you know how much water Elon's factories is probably using up? Just letting them just. And they'll take their money and they'll put $1 billion worth of solar panels on the roof of their building. So now when our electricity go off, they'll still be running with electricity from all their solar power, and then they'll still be still in the water. They'll still be still in the water because they got enough money to tap into the solar power with the high power solar panels across the whole roof of the whole factory. Can't be. Can't be. That's what I'm talking about. It's a drought with the fruit. Let me tell you something. The earth run by evaporation. So there's water, then it evaporates, then it rains. It recycles. If you mess up all your water, you don't have a lot of water to evaporate. You got less evaporation. So you're not going to get this steady rain. That's why everybody got drought. They got drought because how's it going to rain when the sun come out, there ain't no water to evaporate. The evaporation works from lots of water. When there's lots of water the way it's supposed to be, and it gets hot outside, that water is evaporating to be recycled. But when there's less water and it's hot, it's bone dry, there's no moisture in the air. When I was a kid and it was hot outside, it wasn't never a dry hot. Not in Alabama, not in Mississippi, not in Chicago, or nowhere. Only in the desert. Everywhere else in America, when it would get hot outside, it was still a moist type of hot. And I can prove it because if you watch people get in the heat now, you be bone dry. But when I was a kid, you go in the heat, you be sweating like a hog. So you don't be that hot because the sweat falls on you, get your clothes a little damp, and you're cool. Just like the way they cooling those data centers. We was a data center. We create our own sweat. The sweat get in your clothes, cools you off. The sun dries the sweat up again. Then you sweat some more, cool it up. By the time you look up, it's evening time. It ain't even that hot no more. That only happens when you're outside playing at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. By the time the sun goes over 4 o'clock, it's not that hot. So you're not sweating like that. And you dry because the sweat from earlier dried up. You had your own cooling system. You had your own cooling system. When we was kids. That's why we could ride the bike all day, and your mama see you eat so, and what she say? Boy, you ain't came to this house to get no water. You just out there running, ripping out there. Chasing that baseball, chasing that basketball. And we'd drink some water at the park. Remember the park used to have water fountains running? I bet you they ain't running now. I bet you they dry. You might got a few parks got them. We drink off the water hose. Real talk. These people taking all the water for data centers. And then talking about it's a drought. It's a drought. We don't know why it's a drought. We don't know it's a drought. Everything I read to y'all about the drought at the beginning, didn't it sound like they didn't know why? They made it sound like, well, it's less rainfall. You know, not one thing I read about the drought said none about data centers. You ain't noticed that? You ain't noticed that? That's why I set y'all up and let y'all see that ridiculous, that nonsense. Don't say nothing about no data centers. Nothing. Look. 70% of Florida, extreme drought. Mississippi, Spanish in Texas, drought. Midwest, drought. They ain't said nothing about why. They ain't mentioned this. They ain't mentioned they're using 500 million, sometimes 600 millions of gallons of water a day. A day. Everything I read, y'all, it was like, oh, it's a drought, and we need to figure out how we gonna cut y'all water back. You might have to take a 10-minute shower. You might have to take a 10-minute shower. So our data centers can waste 600 million gallons a day. And they said in the summertime it's double. So it could be 1,200 million gallons a day in the summer that they wasted. And you know what a lot of young women say, or women in general? I be around some of these sisters, you know what these sisters would call this? Put it in the chat. What a black woman would call this. Put it in the chat. What would black women say they doing? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat what black women would say that they doing. This is what black women would say they doing. They say they playing in our face. That's what black women would the most. But now the new thing is they'll say they playing in our face. They playing in our face. Am I lying? Am I lying, Lady Lioness? I bet y'all didn't know Pharaoh knew that. That's what the black women say nowadays. If you told them, boy, if I told a black woman in Chicago that they telling us we got to cut back on the shower, but they wasted $600 million of water, they'd be like, they playing in our face. That's what they'll say, right? I keep up on the new. This is the new black woman slang. They're gonna say they playing it out because that's the perfect. I don't know nothing more perfect than that. I mean, we done had a lot of good sayings, but in this case, where they say I got to take a 10-minute shower while they waste 600 million gallons of water a day, they definitely playing in my face. I don't know what else to call it. Lady Lioness, I swear to God, y'all made up a good one with that one. There is nothing. There is nothing that they could say better than they playing in our face. I mean, this is the perfect example. I can't think of another better example of playing in our face. What you say, we got to not wash the car, don't water the grass but once a week, and take 10-minute showers while you waste 600 million gallons of water a day, and on when it's hot, 1,200 or 10. Come on, 10 million. It's 10 million or 12 million when it's hot. It's 5 or 6 million with regular weather. And you want me to take a 10-minute shower so you can have data centers that's used to track me? The data centers don't even help me. Come on, keep it real. How they spending all that money for data centers? They're supposed to have the data. But I can call a company, ComEd, the phone people, whoever, and I got to listen to a recording, and I got to keep pushing buttons, and keep saying customer service. And when they give me customer service, the lady come on. Hello, how are you? This is Kamid. Well, lady, how are you? How are you today? How do you pronounce it? Pharaoh. Welcome to Kamid. I'm like, I'm calling somebody in Peking or Taiwan somewhere, but you got a data center right here, but you ain't got no data. I got to call a lady in Taiwan for the data. It take up forever. Well, let me look. Let me look and see. With all them data centers, I can't. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, give me a minute. We are looking right now. She way in Peking somewhere in Cambodia. God help me with my phone service in Cambodia. And then when she absolutely don't know what she doing, she switched me to some white dude back in America. Hold on, go get someone to help you. She push a button and Roger get on. Hello, Pharaoh. Hey, Roger, why they just didn't send me to you off the top, bro? Why they send me to the Cambodian lady? Why my car went all the way to Indonesia and y'all burning up 600 million gallons of water? Y'all supposed to know what's going on. They still don't know nothing. It still take all day. They still don't know nothing. Do y'all feel like we getting our 600 million gallons of water a day worth? Because I don't see it. These people crazy. So this was an extended news, because this is really the news. This is the big news right here. I ain't gonna lie. This how many data centers they got in America using an average of 500 million gallons each center. Some of them using the least they're using is 300,000 gallons a day of water. And I don't even know how many this is. How many is that? And I'm telling you, they charging our electric bill. We paying all that. That's why your electric bill's up. Helping them pay this. I'm telling you, man. It's a mess. So if you move out of the places gonna have drought, it'll help you a little bit, but everybody gonna move behind you. But to me, the best place you're gonna want to live is by the Great Lakes. It's gonna be a while before they drink the lake up. Lake Michigan is big like an ocean. So that's it. If you live in out there in the West, Utah, Nevada, Arizona, you ain't gonna be able to live out there. California, you're gonna have to be filthy rich. It ain't gonna be a Mexican nowhere in California or nowhere there. They're gonna try to run down to Mexico and live on the coast by some water or something. You can't drink ocean water, so you know what I'm saying, unless you process it. So you're gonna have to be around fresh water. Property down Georgia, Florida is gonna be worthless. If you got a house in Arizona, Florida, sell it. Sell it now. Sell it now. It's March. Because by June, July, everybody will know. And property is going to crash. Everybody's going to know. Everybody gonna know. I'm telling you. See? See? I told you. Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Look. Didn't I tell you? Look. Is property value decreasing in Florida? Yes. Property values in Florida are experiencing a decline in early 2026, making a shift towards the buyer's market. Home values in Florida fell by approximately 5.1% to 5.4% over the past year, with many markets in the state, especially condos, experiencing significant price corrections. They lying. They ain't got no water. They ain't got no water. They out. Nobody's gonna buy that property. Who the hell gonna buy property in the first places ain't gonna have water? Soon as they find out that you got to take 10-minute showers, who gonna move there? Ain't nobody gonna be living in the desert. Who don't want to live in Arizona, New Mexico? Who want to live in the desert? I've been to New Mexico. It's the desert. They got them clay pot roofs. The roofs look like it's a bunch of clay pots. My boy, he had got in some trouble. And he was under, the police, when you snitch or whatever, and you rat on the mob or something, they send you. And I don't know where they sent him. I think they sent him to New Mexico. I don't know if he was in Arizona or New Mexico. He told me New Mexico, but he probably didn't tell me the truth. And he had to buy black drapes, like black drapes for the daytime. That's how hot it was in there, even with the air conditioning. Then I know this white dude that live in Nevada, Vegas. And he told me straight up, this was years ago. He said, Pharaoh, I'm moving because I can't never turn the air conditioner off. He said, I can't turn it off. That's how hot it is in Vegas, in the desert. I said, well, you live in the desert, dude. So they talking about Vegas, okay? See, some people know this information. What's the real reason Vegas is empty? What's the real reason? Because I'm just seeing this information, but if it was out there, other people been seeing it, right? Other people been seeing it. We just finding out. But if it's all over the internet, somebody been reading it, correct? Somebody been reading it. And it's been getting crazy, and they've been noted. How many lives I did about, remember the farmers, the cattle ranchers didn't have no water for the cattle. The ground was all dry. Just look. Remember the almond crops? All of a sudden, America want to take land in South America? Duh. Why? Look at the almonds. What's the real reason they invading South and Central America? Because they got to find some more land. They got to find some lands that got rivers and stuff like that. They got to find fresh water. Imagine how much fresh water is really in Venezuela, really in South America. A whole bunch. They ain't going to tell you. What, they got the Amazon River? Look. It got so bad that the farmers was selling hay They said it was easier to sell hay they would make more money from hay than they was with their cattle. Yep. They was making more money selling hay because the farmers couldn't afford enough water to grow any grass or anything for the cows to eat. And it's been a slow process to the point where the dam is going to turn off. And the orange crops is messed up. And the way they do, they'll tell you that. But you know if the oranges is messed up, you know the lemons is messed up. You could be right by the ocean. Same thing happened. This is what I was trying to tell people in Hawaii. Hawaii's surrounded by the ocean, but that has nothing to do with fresh water. I lived in Hawaii. Hawaii get droughts all the time, and I was growing in Hawaii. I had a spot in the mountain where in Glenwood, and I happened to be in a spot where the clouds is going over the mountain, and I was at the right location where every time it would get to where I live, it had to drop some water to lose weight to get over the mountain. So it would rain there or drizzle or rain constantly. I had a quarter acre. I was going to buy the next door, have a half acre, and I was going to put a whole half acre of water catching systems if I would have stayed there. And I was going to buy some trucks because farmers and stuff was having to have water delivered. And so Maui was so dry, it was bone dry. Not only was it bone dry, they had old 1940 electrical systems. But they told y'all it's a conspiracy. It wasn't no conspiracy. When you see Maui catch on fire and you see them poles fall and you see that electricity, they had old electrical setups from back in the 40s to 30s. In Chicago, if one wire go down, all electricity turn off. So ain't nothing gonna catch on fire. Hawaii had old electrical system with hot wires. They haven't had them in Chicago since I was a kid. When I was a kid, when it be a storm and a wire fall, they say don't touch it, don't go around it because it's hot. They changed that whole system. When a wire fall now, it's not hot. The electricity go off. So they had them wooden poles. They had extremely strong winds. If you live in a really green place, a green place is going to make a lot of plants. When you have a drought, all them plants turn to firewood, paper. So the greener the place is, when they have a drought, the more bushes, the more fire. And they had an extreme drought. So when them hot wires hit that, and they happen to have strong winds, it's a wrap. Go back and look at the details of the weather conditions. You're on an island like this, and like being on the continent, when you're on the island and you got a lot of dry bush and it catch on fire and the wind's blowing, is doing this. Across the island, it could set that whole island on fire. Because you're getting that breeze coming from a certain direction. It's like lighting a fire here and I blow it so it that's how that place caught on fire like that. I lived out there. They had droughts. They don't have enough water. They don't have enough water in Hawaii. Anybody will tell you to live out there. Hawaii always got droughts. Because you can't drink ocean water. You got to have rain. You got to have rivers. You got to have streams. You got to have lakes. Salt water won't get it. They would have to build those systems that we were just talking about earlier to have water. Hold on, I'm going to show that too, because we just finished talking about that earlier. We just was talking about that earlier. That in those places where they don't have no water, they have these desalination plants. Desalination plants are facilities that convert seawater into fresh water. And Iran struck a desalination plant in Bahrain. I was just talking about that earlier today. You have to have desalination plants. That's what they're going to have to build all around this country. If they were smart, they would start building that in LA, the Gulf of Mexico. They would start building them right now if they were smart. If the U.S. was smart, they would start building desalination plants right now, all down the coast of California, all around the Gulf, all around to Florida. They would start building desalination plants and start converting that seawater to fresh water. They need to do that right now. Right now. Don't wait till the water run out and try to do it. Now, if you're in the stocks, even though it's going to be a cash society, it might last. And you can find out which company build those, that's going to be a good stock to buy. Because that stock finna go through the roof for whoever build those desalination plants. Because they're going to have them. They're going to have to clean up the salt water. So that's that, y'all. I hated to tell y'all the bad news, but you need to know. And if you really want to hear all the details about this situation, go to Instagram. If you got family, you think about buying property, go to Instagram and follow Alaska Gladiator 400. Tell them Pharaoh sent you over there. You need to go watch this man. This man is preaching about water shortages every day. He like somebody in the Bible, like Noah, that's telling people, you need to go watch this man. You know what I'm saying? Quaylen posted the link. You need to watch this man. This man is, every day he's trying to beat it over our head that we're running out of water. Every day. That's who I got it from. He came across my timeline and I watched one video, then I watched another one, and I watched another one. I said, oh, then I watched another one. I mean, he's breaking it down. And he's not lying. We are running out of water. So go watch the brother. He gonna really, oh man, that's all he do. He posts all the facts too. He posts all the facts. That's how I know a lot of this information. I got it from him. Our job is to spread the information. So now you know. And if you got property, sell it. I'm telling you, sell it. If you got property in any of them dry areas, sell it. Sell it now. It's crazy because without thinking about this, I was just telling some relatives I want to go buy me some property up there in Minneapolis, up there in Minnesota. And I'm going to have to speed that up. I'm going to have to go up there. I'm going to have to go up there to Minnesota, get me some property up there. Because they're going to be giving it away. And they got all type of grants and all type of ways for you to get property where you don't even have to spend your money. But it's going to be a long summer for me because I'm going to be looking at investments like that. I'm definitely trying to get me some property around the Great Lakes for sure. And if I don't sell it, I'll let my children or my grandchildren move in it, you know? So look, that's what it is. It's a bad situation, but I warned you, okay? So now it's up to you. So some places there's going to be no water, and other places are going to be too much water. So that's the water's got to go somewhere. Something's going to have to give. And those people pulling all that water up, but it's still got to evaporate somewhere. But it's not going to rain where they doing it at. And this is what experts are saying. Experts are saying where those data centers is at, that water is evaporating. But the way it's going to evaporate, all the areas it is going to be dry, and it's going to dump it somewhere else. So we're going to go from no water to too much water. Victory.